Welcome back to Crystal Clear! I'm ARTWITHKODA, and after Steven vs. the movie and looking forward to its upcoming 6th season, a lot of people are reasonably wondering, who's the next villain? As of the end of Season 5, the Diamonds have given in to Steven's wishes, disbanding their armies, liberating their colonies, and pretty much just dismantling their entire empire, and the movie didn't end with Spinel as some kind of brand new antagonist for the next season, giving her a happy ending as well. While trying to stay grounded in what's already established in the show, there are only so many options they have for a new antagonist. Whether that's a new alien race entirely, like Sneeple or whoever created the Diamonds, or a gem that's very resistant of Homeworld's changes, with a voice loud enough to be heard, gathering enough allies amongst Homeworld to start an uprising. Of course, I'm referring to the big buff Cheeto Puff, but before we dig in, special thanks to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring this video. I often find myself in awe at how much video games have evolved over the years. Raid personifies those feelings in a way no mobile game has done before, cementing itself as one of the most ambitious RPGs in 2019. Raid doesn't feel like a game designed for phones, but rather something you find on PC or consoles, which is insane because it's free. This comparison isn't short-sighted either. Raid comes packing with an amazing storyline, breathtaking 3D graphics, humongous boss fights, PvP battles, and for those who like having a lot to do in a video game, there's hundreds of champions to collect and customize. Look at how detailed they are. My favorite right off the bat is Gaelic. Any mean green fighting machine is going to be top-notch in my book, with his skills such as Crosslash, Hellraiser, and Cursed Blade. Again, this feels like something I would pick up for a console, not a quick trip to the App Store with a free download. Evidently, I'm not alone in feeling like this, as 10 million players worldwide have downloaded this game in just 6 months. And the game has over 300,000 reviews, landing it with a near-perfect rating on the App Store. The game is growing incredibly fast, and the team behind it have huge updates planned for over 6 months of additional content. You won't be getting bored anytime soon. You can find me in the game under the name ARTWITHKODA, and if you're quick enough, you can also join my clan. So what are you waiting for? Download Raid Shadow Legends with the link in the description, and you will get over 50,000 silver and a free epic champion as a part of the new player program. Start your journey today. Raid Shadow Legends is available for iOS and Android. Download using the link only in our description to get those awesome perks, and I'll see you on the battlefield. Alright, so lately I've been thinking a lot about Jasper, and just how crazy the entire situation she found herself in truly is, and how if any gem should lead a rebellion on Homeworld, it really should be her. And that's the aspect I want to focus on in this video. Why Jasper in particular should be the face of Steven Universe's final conflict. That if the series comes to an end next season, and they do want to go this route, Jasper, for all intents and purposes, has earned to be the final villain, why it makes sense for character, and even how the movie already set the groundwork for this plotline with Spinel. We can discuss what that rebellion would look like in a separate video. But for now, let's dive in. First off, Jasper is confirmed to return in the future, seemingly in a huge capacity, as in the beginning of the year when Change Your Mind premiered on January 21st, 2019, 3 members of the Crewniverse, Rebecca Sugar, Mickey Brewster, and Lamar Abrams, held an official Reddit AMA on Cartoon Network's account. When questioned on if Jasper would have a redemption arc, Mickey Brewster in particular just responded with, "More to come," implying that there is a future of Jasper, but considering I don't think they would just flat out state a redemption arc, at least out of the gate, I'm skeptical on if this more to come means, oh yes, Jasper will become a crystal gem. It makes sense Mickey Brewster of all people would be the one to respond to this, as when it comes to Steven Universe, she has appeared to become one of the Crewniverse's action boarders. I mean heck, she was responsible for boarding other friends. And the only other action set piece in the film Change was storyboarded by Jeff Liu. At this point, Rebecca Sugar recognizes who in the Crewniverse is for action and who isn't. Jasper, as we all know, is a very action-based character. She's someone who loves to get her hands dirty. Thus, it's almost a no-brainer that Mickey Brewster would be heavily involved with Jasper's arc, as she's probably had a chance to obtain an intimate understanding of the character that not many boarders would have. If we couple this with the San Diego Comic-Con 2019 interview that Polygon conducted with Rebecca Sugar, Sugar stated that not everything can be resolved within 2 years after being questioned on the time skip, which is very telling. Homeworld has been able to dismantle their empire, the Crystal Gems have been able to deeply progress on creating Little Homeworld, and finding the time to restore Steven's house better than ever. It seems like a lot of things were resolved actually, except for the one character who was missing in the film. Now, while yes, plenty of homeworld gems were missing in action in this film, Jasper is one of the core OGs. And you can't deny that, unlike any of the other missing homeworld gems, Jasper's involvement in the show was a lot more in-depth and elaborated on. Other gems appear for 2 or 3 episodes and then vanish. Not only did Jasper have an entire arc under her belt, but it was an arc that brought consequences, with Steven learning about Pink Diamond. And Jasper was already a proven viable threat long before her own arc. She endured as an antagonist for a very long time, and I'm not necessarily convinced you can just give up her ways that easily. Consider everything that happened since Jasper was corrupted. When she returns and changed her mind, she doesn't endure any of those changes. She was for all intents and purposes frozen in time, and look at her final moments before being corrupted. While she did show a bit of vulnerability, she also rejected Steven's help, establishing that she views Steven as manipulative, that he'll tear people down to their lowest point, that it's easy for Steven to influence people to do whatever he wants. Now yes, Jasper was projecting onto Rose, and although we'll touch on the whole entire Pink Diamond fiasco in a sec, I don't think accepting that Steven isn't Rose Quartz is actually going to change much in the long run. It won't suddenly justify them. She'll still see Steven as manipulative. If anything, she would probably just jump to the saying that the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. And we have to consider, Jasper's last real appearance before Change Your Mind was all of Earthlings, not just this one scene. The beginning of the episode had her look down on any gems who don't fit the perfect homeworld mold. And now she's in a world where suddenly the diamonds don't fit that mold? How do you think she's going to react to everything? How do you see that from your own eyes? You set out on a mission to destroy Rose Quartz. Nothing assigned by your leaders, it's your own personal vendetta, your own lust for revenge. You feel like you have to be the one who does it, capturing corrupted gems and trying to build your own army. Jasper made it clear what she was trying to do and crack the whip. She simply just wanted a war that she can win. It cannot be understated that Jasper hates Rose Quartz and she hates Steven. To do everything that Jasper did would mean that more than likely, you're pretty far gone. Jasper was the hero of her story. The hero got defeated, and now everything is different. How do you respond to that? Especially when you already aren't really fond of yourself. As Rebecca Sugar has already explained, Jasper has a lot of personal issues. Jasper hates herself. Jasper doesn't really see herself as worthy. She knows that in theory, she's a hot ticket. Everyone loves her, she's great. Which may tie into another thing Rebecca Sugar has also mentioned on the podcast. She remarked early into the podcast run that on Homeworld, Jasper's like a celebrity, which means Jasper has influence. Just keep that in mind for our next video on Jasper and her role as a villain. The point I'm getting at is that Jasper's likely gonna blame herself for Era 3 of Homeworld. She'll forcefully connect dots so there'll be a correlation between her being corrupted and Steven changing the diamonds' minds. She'll believe that Steven was able to manipulate the diamonds, which I mean, kinda yeah. Everything with Steven ultimately comes down to the fact that he's using his leverage as being a diamond, the son of Pink Diamond no less, to get the other diamonds to cease their tyrannical ways. Very well intentioned, but is it a form of manipulation? You can argue so. But yes, Jasper now finds herself in a position where everything she thought she knew, everything that she lived by, has all been stripped away from her in a literal flash. I mean, you saw her reaction to just the sight of Steven and Change Her Mind. She immediately went to battle. I don't believe this is a grudge that can be dropped. Steven can't get through Jasper's mind because to effectively do that, he would have to change Jasper's mind on herself. If Jasper's unable to accept herself, she won't be able to fathom the notion of change, especially change as extreme as everything Homeworld is going under. And this kind of brings us to Rose Quartz and Pink Diamond. The woman Jasper idolized was the same woman she despised, the same woman whose son she went out of her way to try to kill. We've had a lot of mixed reactions to Rose Quartz being Pink Diamond by the characters themselves, but none of them have really waved a finger in the air and said, "F Pink Diamond." And this is where the next step in Jasper's arc can get really interesting. I used to think that once Jasper learned Rose Quartz was Pink Diamond, she would have this grand epiphany and realize, maybe Earth ain't that bad. But with hindsight, I don't think that would be her reaction at all. I think her reaction would be the exact opposite. Pink Diamond was a monster on both sides. She manipulated all of you into fighting a war, and now her son is finishing her work by manipulating all of you further. Wake up! Open your eyes! Steven Quartz universe has to be stopped. Pink Diamond has to be stopped. But before I get too ahead of myself, because now I'm going into my other theory territory, I want to cap off this video with a look at how Steven Universe the movie kind of laid the groundwork for what's next, and how if they wanted to take this route with Jasper being the final villain, it'll make perfect sense with Steven's growth. Now, a lot of people are under the impression that Steven's song in Spinel is what caused her to cave, even though she even said,
"You can't just make everything better by singing some stupid song!"
What caused Spinel to cease her fighting was the fact that because Steven had his powers back, she could no longer hurt him. And once she could no longer hurt him, she began to realize exactly what she was doing, breaking down because of it. This takes me to a recent Forbes interview with Rebecca Sugar, who was questioned, "Do you think Steven will ever encounter an enemy he can't reason with?" To which Sugar replies, "Stay tuned for what happens next is all I can say at the moment. However, even though that already may take your mind to Jasper, or just someone who can't necessarily be redeemed, hold on for just a moment because there's more." But also, with Spinel, Steven isn't really able to talk her out of being the way she is. It's only when he defends himself, when she can't hurt him anymore, and there's nothing left to do, when she stops. I've been working with this really fascinating anti-bullying psychologist who collaborates with Cartoon Network, and through my conversations with him, it's really changed how I thought about writing. The difference between interpersonal conflict and a bully is that a bully's goal is to hurt someone, and there will always be satisfaction as long as that person is being hurt. It's only through Steven's strength in himself, and in the case of Spinel, his ability to defend himself completely, that makes her crumble. I find non-violent protests extremely fascinating. I think it's something you rarely see in entertainment. Steven being able to defend himself, even if it did involve his fist, led to Spinel realizing she no longer had power over him. If there's no way to hurt Steven, she can't just take out her emotions on him, and she would have to confront the truth. Now take all of that and apply it to Jasper, the kindergarten courts who could, who's gone on record and cracked the whip to state that fighting is her life and that Jaspers don't quit, that Jaspers keep going until they get what they want. Well, what Jasper wants is for Steven to suffer, to more or less destroy him and everything he's worked for. Maybe Jasper's goal to ultimately love herself is to still come on top as the hero of her own story, snapping Homeworld out of their old ways, slaying all the crystal gems including Steven Universe, and being hailed as a savior. And again, with her influence, anything is possible. Some may watch this video and still think that, oh, Jasper becoming the villain again? That sounds a bit repetitive. But if anything, I think it'll be expanding on something that didn't reach its full potential. Jasper is capable of building an army. She's capable of breaking down the crystal gems, even if they, mainly Amethyst, have come out stronger because of Jasper. So what happens when you put Jasper in an environment not surrounded by mindless creatures, but actual living, sentient beings who are impressionable and already look up to her as an inspiring figure? That, my friends, is exactly what I hope we're going to explore in Season 6. That things will truly come full circle because Steven has to finish what he started, trying to get through the person that it should be impossible to get through. I feel as if Jasper serving as the final villain, or at least the next villain, would really help tell a character-driven story. One that gives every single crystal gem a reason to be involved. Jasper was the first true antagonist we had in the show. Lapis just wanted to go home. Peridot just wanted to do her job. But Jasper? She was out for revenge, setting her sights on the death of Steven from the very beginning. And just working off that, Steven clearly has ties to Rose Quartz and Pink Diamond. Someone who, as we elaborated on today, is instrumental to Jasper's character. Pearl served Pink Diamond. Pearl went through everything on both sides. Amethyst already has a special connection to Jasper. Lapis's relationship with Jasper is already very complex and toxic, so that already lends to some pretty compelling storytelling. Peridot, although briefly, worked with Jasper, the two of them and Lapis making up the original Homeworld trio, and of course Bismuth is someone who participated in the war. Aside from having everyone's backs, it's possible she could have already had a run-in with Jasper on the battlefield. Not to mention, I already believe Jasper is the reason behind Bismuth's new form. Steven's mother made many mistakes, but unlike Spinel, unlike Pearl, unlike the Crystal Gems, unlike Greg, the person who realistically is in the position to cause an uprising is someone who is impacted by Pink Diamond so severely, yet Pink likely doesn't even know her full name. Jasper Facet, what exactly? But as always, These are just my thoughts, and I want to hear yours. Could Jasper be the final villain of Steven Universe, or at least the next antagonist? And there can still be room for one more. Again, next up, I'm gonna be touching on why I think she can create like her own league of villains, an uprising or rebellion. I'm excited to talk about that. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, or tweet your thoughts at Roundtable Vids. And for more of my own thoughts, you can find me at ARTWITHKODA. We're also on Instagram. Help the Roundtable grow by either becoming a member of this channel or supporting us over at Patreon. Link in the description. If you enjoyed this video, please throw it a like and subscribe to the Roundtable for more great cartoon content. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have an awesome day. ARTWITHKODA signing out.